everyone, and welcome to the third episode of our podcast series, The Social Muse. This is Nishi, and I'm here today with my friends Sandhya and Akhil to talk about an incredibly important topic, which is halting the extinction crisis.
A recent report from the United Nations showcased an alarming assessment of the fate of animal life and biodiversity on Earth. According to the authors of this report, almost 1 million species are threatened with extinction, and many of these species only have a few decades. If we keep going like this, we are going to erode the very foundations of our economies, livelihoods, food security, health, and quality of life in this world.
And of course, as you might have already guessed, our theme for today is green. Yes, rainforests, trees, and nature itself is predominantly green, but there's another reason behind it as well. Green means for us as humans to continually use renewable resources and engage in eco-friendly activities to reduce the negative impact of us humans on the environment. This is where sustainable development comes in. We need to safeguard the environment without sacrificing the current and future needs of our world.
In certain regions of the world, whole plant and fungal species have been wiped out. Plants and fungi are the basis of life on Earth, and all life depends upon them. Humankind is now in a race against time to locate and identify species before they become extinct. A series of complex interlinked factors caused 40% of plants to be threatened with extinction.
So, what causes extinction? Increasing deforestation rates to satisfy rising food demand, a rise in global emissions disturbing the climate system, new viruses endangering crops, the introduction of non native species, overexploitation, and illicit trade are all putting plants at a risk of extinction.
Habitat degradation is one of the leading causes of extinction. As the human population is increasing, lots of land has to be cleared for urbanization and agriculture. This significantly decreases animal and plant habitat. According to the World Wildlife Fund, 36 million acres of natural forests are being cleared annually. 80% of the world's species rely on forests for their habitat, which is being destroyed by human activity. Habitat degradation is one of the leading causes of extinction. As the human population is increasing, lots of land has to be cleared for urbanization and agriculture. This significantly decreases animal and plant habitat. According to the World Wildlife Fund, 36 million acres of natural forests are being cleared annually. 80% of the world's species rely on the forest for their habitat, which is being destroyed by human activity.
As the human population grows, more and more land has to be cleared for urbanization and agriculture. This shrinks the habitat for animals and plants. According to the World Wildlife Fund, every year around 36 million acres of natural forests are leveled. The forest provides the habitat for 80% of world species who then lose their homes just because of human development. Apart from that, disrupting their habitat by introducing changes in their hydrological regime, such as the introduction of new dams, can negatively affect the functioning of water bodies and are also responsible for the extinction of plants.
Another reason for extinction of plants is due to the introduction of exotic species. When non-native animals and plants are introduced to an environment, they can cause substantial harm to indigenous plants and animals and even lead to their extinction. For fundamental requirements like food and water, native species must compete with exotic species. If the exotic species are more aggressive than the native species then risks extinction.
Moreover, climate change is one of the chief contributors to plant extinction too. Global warming is an ongoing crisis which is attributed to the increase in Earth's atmospheric and ocean temperatures created by the greenhouse effect. A temperature change of even 1 degree affects the plant and animal life. Scientists looked at 25 biodiverse areas around the world and concluded that current carbon dioxide amounts will double eventually in the area studied. This could lead to extinction of 56,000 plant species and 3,700 animal species in those areas alone.
Deforestation leads to global climate change, which can lead to overexploitation of resources and invasion of harmful species. Many of the factors that cause plant and animal extinction are interconnected and are synergistic effects, making the prevention of extinction very complicated. Practices such as illicit trade add to the intricacy of the situation.
However, as most of these factors are associated with human activity, we can influence them to some extent. Learning about the causes of extinction and reducing our carbon footprint, and purchasing items that are produced sustainably are two things that we can do to help lower the rate of plant and animal extinctions around the globe.
Moving on, let's talk about prevention. Is there any way we can curb or at least try to stop this issue? Couldn't we just start planting more trees? That way, we can make up for the trees lost. For every tree cut, plant a new one.
Oh, yes, reforestation is one of the easiest solutions to this. But the scale of deforestation has gone too far. To restore nearly half the amount of plant life that has been destroyed would require about 200 to 250 years of labor. Even though millions of trees are planted, it would take them hundreds of years to mature. I don't think it's wise to rely on traditional methods to restore forests.
Have you heard of smart reforestation? If the issue is manpower, why not use drones to plant seeds? With the advancement of computer technology, drones have emerged as an extensive tool, especially in the field of reforestation. They can plant 120 seed pods per minute, which is 2 trees per second, and 500 billion trees by the end of 2060. The drones fire biodegradable seed pods filled with germinated seeds into designated spots. Once activated by water, the seed pods penetrate the earth and start growing. Also, they are 10 times faster and nearly 85% cheaper than manual labor.
Adding on, there was this article I read. It was about a team of conservationists in Abu Dhabi and New York who have collectively sequenced the genome of previously extinct date palm trees using a technique called resurrection genomics. The project has been tested first with date palm trees because the date palm seeds germinate with minimal DNA damage and moreover they live a long time. Continuous research is also being done and they are looking at this as a viable option to bring back the extinct trees. There's a lot more to be done in this field, but this is a starting point for sure.
That's so interesting. I'd never heard of this before. It sounds a lot like Jurassic Park. As Akhil and Nishi said, I think we need to think of unorthodox methods of replanting now. The above methods seem to be tedious. Is there something we can do as individuals at home?
Yes, Sandhya, that's an interesting question. I think there's always been a lack of awareness in terms of endangered plants. So, that's where we should start. Take note of different kinds of shrubs, saplings, and trees around you. Another thing that can be done is, if you have a backyard, plant native flowers. This would attract pollinators. But be careful not to plant non-native or exotic plants. They are often invasive species which prey on native plant species for food and other resources.
There is one more thing that can be done. For instance, if you are shopping, buy sustainable products and shop with global conservation at the back of your mind. The wood used in products like furniture and paper may come from threatened rainforests, so it's important to check whether the products you buy are sourced sustainably or not.
All these are incredibly easy ideas for us to follow and integrate at home. It's important to not only raise awareness but also educate people on the small lifestyle changes that can help to battle the extinction crisis.
And that is all we have to say for today's episode. We are going to end today with a quote from David Suzuki for you to think about. Our planet has not seen an extinction crisis as serious as the one in progress for 65 million years.